All right, welcome everyone to our very first session. This is the Empire Builders Mastermind. You guys are building empires, and I want to just provide you with an opportunity, a venue to where you can learn from each other. Now, selfishly, I'm doing this for my own benefit as well because I can take the information that I glean from this group of powerhouse agents and team leaders and mega team leaders to disseminate that information, just the shortcuts to all of the Icon coaching clientele. So by participating here, you're having a massive impact. And the ripple effect is going to impact many people, their livelihood, their lifestyle, their family's lifestyle, and their ability to live the life they want to live. So thank you all for being here. And since we want to keep this small, tight knit, by the way, again, this is invitation only. Okay, I wouldn't tell anybody else that you're part of this group. Let's just keep this simply between us. Again, my intention is that you have an opportunity to connect with people, to share your stresses, share your challenges with people who have been there and done that, or maybe they're experiencing the same thing. And once again, all of us, gang, we're smarter than just one of us. Now, I've consulted and coached with some of the top producing teams and organizations on the face of this planet, and you guys are up there in the top 1/10 of 1%, and maybe even 100th% of 1%. I mean, you guys are killing it. So let's take a moment, just real fast. I want to go around the Zoom room here. I want you to take just 30 seconds or less, introduce yourself. Brandon Howard, let's start with you. You're at the top of my screen, brother. And just take humility, throw it out the window just for a second. Brag about your success. Talk to us about what you've accomplished.
Hello, folks. Thanks for having me here, Shon. Yes, Brian Howard here in Calgary. Was a Remax agent for about 15 or 20 years and came to EXP 2 years ago and was Mike Ferry trained for the most part. So with a small one assistant, I would do up towards of 95 deals a year and consistently do more than 60 for many years. And I'm enjoying EXP, the model, and the big brag, that's something I'm very proud about, is I trained hard to do an Ironman. I've been doing a lot of endurance events for my entire life, but a year ago, I did an Ironman race and I trained to win. Like I wanted to win it, the age group win. And I did it. I broke the course records. And I try to, I'm more competitive in that sort of thing, sport and endurance sport, than I am in my own business. So I try to, I'm trying to make, and I did that like 10, 15 years ago, knowing that sport was something I really enjoyed. And I became quite a good, successful agent implementing those principles. And I continue to try to do that in business. Thank you.
Love it. Brian, congratulations on your success, buddy. Thank you for being here. And guys, we're going to be doing this every single week, every Thursday, 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. Okay, Brandon Howard, over to you.
Awesome. Well, hey, Shon, appreciate you inviting me, and I'm excited to learn from everybody else as well. But yeah, so I'm from Northwest Arkansas. I've sold about 300 million total from 2018 till now. So this past year, sold 100 million in commercial and residential as a single agent with a good admin team. Worked primarily as somebody that kind of just picked up the phone and called like out of a phone book from day one, and then moved to expireds and for sale by owners, and built out a team, and then realized that there was a little bit more efficient way to do things, utilizing my skills of marketing and technology to find off-market stuff and bring it to investors. And so that's kind of primarily what I do now. So my goal for this next year is to sell, assuming rates will get a little bit easier, to sell about 200 million as a single agent with some admin. So yeah, that's about me.
So keeping it small, keeping it tight, and increasing the net yield.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Yeah.
Love it. Jennifer Jones, one of my favorite people. Go ahead. Take it away, Jennifer.
You're one of mine too, Shon. Shon's been amazing. Shon had given me a lot of coaching on moving from kind of being in the business and running our team. We have one of the #1 traditional teams in Canada. So we fluctuate between 1 and 2 right now. I'm coming for Ibrahim, #1 currently, don't worry. So Shon actually helped me bring in and sort of get myself in a place where I could start to really move into more of a CEO position within the team. So that's been something we've been working towards. Right now we're fluctuating between about 35 and 40 realtors. We do about 500 deals a year. That's nowhere where we want to be. So our commitment for the end of December is actually to have 100 realtors on the team. So we're north of Toronto and just so happy to be here. So thank you so much.
And in massive growth mode. Jen, thank you again for being here. Don Michello, talk to us, man. You're the director of sales for the DDG Group in Cambridge, Massachusetts. We've also got your operations manager with us, Haley. Welcome, Haley. Welcome, Don. I'm going to let you guys tag team this. Introduce yourselves to the group real fast.
Yeah, Don Mancello, as you said, with Denman Drapkin Group at Compass in Cambridge, just outside of Boston, Mass. I've been in real estate for about 15, 16 years, started off as an agent. After that, I was a broker owner for 7 years of Sotheby's International Realty franchise. After that, I sold it to a larger one and went on to work for them as their, I kind of ran sales for them. And brought them from about 900 million in sales to about 3.2 billion in 3 years through acquisition, training, recruiting. And I'm on to my next venture with the Denman Drapkin Group. And, we're in a heavy growth mode as well. We're looking to, we're about 10 agents now. We're looking to grow to about 50 within the next few years. And really excited to hear from people, see some strategies, and see what we can pick up on the recruiting end, especially for me.
Fantastic.
And my friend Haley's here as well.
And you're on mute. Haley, go ahead and unmute yourself. There you go.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so my name's Haley Failing. I started working with Todd Denman, the leader of the Denman Drapkin Group, right at the beginning of 2020. Funny enough, I had come from a real estate background myself, being an agent for about 4 years, doing about 100 transactions in that time, and just kind of realized sales wasn't for me, and I love operations. So Todd Denman took the Denman Properties team and merged it with another team in our office, someone who was kind of looking to retire, kind of looking for a succession plan, but had two very different styles of business. And so myself as operations manager kind of listened to both sides and saw what can we do to incorporate the best of the best and just make it, like one beautiful product. So really exciting. We went from 50-ish transactions, I want to say, in 2020. And we finished up last year right around 160. So definitely grew, but we are, like Don said, looking to grow even more in the future. So very excited to see what you guys are all doing and learn from the best.
Fantastic. With an average sales price of roughly 1.2 million. That doesn't suck, right, guys? Doesn't suck. All right. Good job. Brenda Thompson, over to you.
Hello, everybody. Brenda Thompson. I am in the Dallas-Fort Worth market. I have been licensed as an agent for 22 years and had my own individual brokerage for many years. And back in 2011, I had the opportunity to sell my brokerage to then open the very first office for United Real Estate. Back then, it was brand new. I was first broker, first office, grew that office, grew that brand, opened over the years, opened 85 offices across the country for them. And with me being person number one, grew it to 10,000 agents. So that was a great legacy to leave. And then somewhere along the way, decided to get back local. And I left there to then buy a HomeSmart franchise. So I have a HomeSmart Stars office here in Plano in the North Dallas area. And I have about 100 agents. And I'm always I like to build from an inception and then grow it and expand it. So I'm in major expansion mode right now. So that's where we're at.
Well, congratulations, Brenda. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Jeff and Amanda Whitespear, some of my other favorite people. Welcome.
Hey, Shon, how are you?
Phenomenal, brother. Take it away.
Yeah, sure. I guess I'll do it. She never talks. We own and operate Cityside Properties Group. We brought our team over to EXP after about 6 years ago from Keller Williams. We're at Keller there about 8 years. And now we're the #1 standard team at EXP. And that's just over 700 transactions a year. We are recruiting for our sales team, but also taking advantage of the residual income EXP offers. So we got about 1,000 agents in our rev share group as well. So kind of a couple hats we work with, the sales team, the training, everything. And then the recruiting side, the training, always in expansion mode because it just seems my buyer's agents just leave as quick as they come in. So always looking for new talent there. And we're excited to learn different strategies and things. We're pretty investor heavy. We targeted investors early on and we picked up a few large funds. So we do that. And we're just excited to learn about different people's businesses and things. So
We were approved yesterday to become a mega icon team. And I'm in between, like, do we stay small and mighty or do we go big? And Jennifer, I love how you're like, my vision is 100 agents. Cause I'm like, if I'm going to go big and compete against these kids, I want to go big or go home. So we have a lot to learn from y'all. We're excited.
Fantastic. Henry, Wallace, over to you.
Hey guys, great to be with you. Sorry for the car. I had a quick family emergency, so I had to running back to the office. But here based in Austin, Texas. Been in real estate since 2011. I started off on a team doing condo sales development in 78704 in Austin. Went on my own in 2017. And I've grown every year, definitely not to the level of you guys, but happy to continue to grow and just be a part of this group and learn as much as I can to grow at your guys' level.
That is phenomenal. Welcome, Henry. I love it. Jason, well, Hoffner, over to you.
You got the name right. Impressive. Well, good to see you all. I'm a little different animal, I think, than some of you. We're a commercial brokerage shop here in Denver, Colorado. We've got 7 of us on our team. One's an office manager, the rest are brokers. We measure transaction volume more in terms of revenue. Did about $1 million in revenue last year. That was decent for us. Looking to grow, maybe not as explosive as some. You know, our mantra has been fit over numbers, and brand and strength over just recruitment. But we've found that, you know, it's almost like prospecting where you can't just hire one person a year. You need to hire much more than that if you're going to keep a person a year and grow the team. So curious how you all have done it and stayed successful.
Fantastic.
I'm not convinced
All right.
I want 50 brokers.
All right, Sue Smith, over to you. Way to go. Jason, welcome. All right, take it away.
Hey, I'm Sue Smith. I'm with Compass Real Estate in Northern Virginia. I'm a 35-year real estate veteran. I started teams and I started assistants in the early 90s. I've been through a whole big cycle and I've got a really small team, lean and mean. And here we are.
All right, good, good. Well, you know, there's an interesting phenomenon. When you start building a team, when you start, it's highly profitable. And then as you go to scale and you go through what I call the awkward teenager phase of growth, well, then your profit margins suffer substantially. So if you're in that position right now, just recognize that's absolutely normal. It truly is. You're going to suffer on profit margin when you're in that tweener stage, or what I call the awkward teenager phase, where the legs are a little too long for the torso, the arms are a little too long for the body, right? And it's just, you know, awkward. That's all I can say. It's awkward. And yet you hit a position of growth that generally occurs around 20 agents on the team when you have a solid director of sales, a VP of sales beneath the director of sales, and then agents beneath the VPs of sales, where you can truly disseminate the management and leadership amongst talented people within your organization to really step out of production. And then all of a sudden, what happens? The profit margin increases because you've got your fixed expense being offset with a higher volume of sales, no doubt. All right. Do I say it? Calio. Cal. I'm just going to call you Cal. Take it away, bud.
It's Yoder. So yes, I'm in that awkward phase. Have been pretty much a single agent with admin. Tired of working 70 hours a week. So
how many of you guys been there, by the way? Tired of working 70-hour weeks. Okay, good, good. We're all on the same page. Keep going.
So yeah, so sell about 100 units, and now I've taken on a partner, and our goal is to basically grow to 350 units over the next 4 years. In our market, average sales price about 300 grand. So we're at about the 30 million mark at 100 with 100 transactions.
And striving toward 100 million plus in total sales volume. Congratulations. Well, no matter where you're at in your growth cycle, you're on the right call. I promise you that. Now, there's 4 categories that we're really going to focus in on today. Number one, and I call this the 4 R's. Many of you have heard this from me before, right? The first R is recruiting. I mean, undoubtedly, you need the right talent to scale your efforts. See, many people come to Icon Coaching for consulting, coaching, training once they've hit this natural ceiling of achievement. And we've all got one. Now, generally speaking, that's going to be between 30 and 50 transactions for a single agent with maybe an admin support, right? There's outliers like Calio. Did I say it right? Please correct me, sir, if you don't mind.
Yeah, it's Cal, and my last name is Yoder.
Okay, Cal Yoder.
Yeah.
Okay, love it, Cal. Thank you. So with that said, Cal, you're kind of an outlier, right? You're doing 100 deals, and now you're pulling on a partner to scale the effort. Yet most people, it's between 30 and 50 transactions where you can't work another buyer, you guys. You can't take another listing because you can't create another week in the month. You just can't do it. So to get beyond that natural ceiling of achievement, it requires leverage. So we're going to talk about the 4 R's, right? Recruiting. Then it's about retention. Jeff, you'd mentioned that the buyer's agents come in the front door, they go right out the back door, right? So we're going to talk about retention strategies. And I will tell you that compensation is the most underutilized tool in an agent's tool belt as it relates to retaining agents to the team. See, if I'm going to join your team and I'm a 50-50 split on team leads for the rest of my career, guys, that's not all inspiring. See, my vision will undoubtedly exceed the size of the vision that you have for me, and that's when I'm going to leave you. And you've trained your competition. So I'm going to talk to you about ways to retain them with compensation. There's 8 different ways we can compensate people. It's definitely going to help with retention. The third category is revenue or per agent production. And I want to know what you guys are doing specifically to increase the per agent production. And it's not just about spending more money on leads. I promise you that. We're going to talk about specific strategies and tactics that you can implement and deploy like right now today to up the per agent production on the team. Okay. The fourth category, which to me is one of the most important, is reproduction. So to get those agents that have aligned with you to help you grow the team. So there's something in it for them once they help you grow the team. So let's talk first and foremost about recruiting. And I'm just going to, again, open forum, guys. There is no wrong answer. By the way, if you showed up today to think that you're going to sit back, take notes, and that's it, well, you're on the wrong call. Okay. Sincerely, you're on the wrong call. I want you each to engage. And this is important because how you participate during this call is how you're going to participate in growing your own business. You guys with me on that, right? So let's talk about recruiting strategies to identify the right talent to join your team. We can talk the administrative side of the fence. We can talk the agent side of the fence. Yet let's start there. Talk to me. I'm going to start calling on people in a second.
I was going to say, so just clarify that question, Shon. So you're looking for.
Yeah. So how are you identifying the right talent to align with the team? How are you approaching them? Talk to me about your presentation to get them to say, okay, I see a brighter vision, a brighter future by aligning with your vision, rather. I'm going to join your team. How do you identify them? How do you recruit them?
So I think for us, it would be like I'm utilizing social media as a way of like getting myself out there and showing like our culture. So we'll put on like videos of our team meetings, lots of praise and celebration of agents with feedback from a client, like just really celebrating the agents. So we're looking for people that want to produce, like to have fun, are positive and optimistic, right? And then once they make contact, because generally it's, for the most part right now, it's been them approaching us. So it becomes just checking to see once they make the contact and we respond, how quickly do they actually get back to us? Like someone that's going to take hours to get back to us or a day, they're out, right? So just like kind of having those basic guidelines on what we're looking at. And then we set the appointment. They need to be on time. They need to show up. They need to be professional. We'll send them a disc as well. And then we're working on Shon's 4 quadrants, right? So yeah. So, you know, they have a positive life right now. And right now, if their life stays the same in their own mind, their future looks pretty good too. So we're doing kind of a business audit and figuring out Where are the gaps? So we have those questions. We're asking them as 3 sort of main questions that we ask, and we ask them to rate themselves and their brokerage on a score. We usually do like a score between 1 and 10, 10 being the most awesome. And then when they fail, their brokerage fails and they get like a 4, right? It's pretty easy at that point because you say, so if nothing changes and we look forward a year from now, where are you? What's happening? And they're like, oh boy, like this, that's not good, right? And then just working on, showing them the difference between like a breakdown of if you're a single agent, right, and you're attempting to make it right now, this is your net. This is what you're going to take home. Versus when you come on the team and we're paying all these things for you, this is your net. And guess what? You get holidays, you get to take vacation, you get a day off with the family, you're entirely covered, and you have all these other amazing benefits. So that's how we do it, Shon.
Okay, let me kind of unpack what you just said, Jen, because that was great. And there were 3 really good things that came out of what you just said. And thank you. Number 1, social proof. Social proof. Now, if you get a chance, I'd encourage you to go to one of my clients' websites at seelyproperties.com. Tim, if you could give me permission to share my screen, bud, I'd really appreciate that. I'll go ahead and share my screen and just walk everybody through this just real fast. Good. All right, here we go. Here we are. Okay, so seelyproperties.com, SEELY, properties.com. You can see the team here. They're based in Austin, Texas. When you go up to join the team, now they're mastering social proof here. They're putting this forward for the world to see. And while Zoom does slow down my machine a little bit, it's building slowly. It's like watching paint dry right now. I apologize. Come on, here we go. I just had a 3 terabyte solid state drive installed in my laptop, and they told me it would be like wicked fast, but it's just, what is going on here? Here we go. All right, so join the team. It's all about creating your unique value proposition to become a magnet for the talent that's available to you in the industry. Oh, come on, please. Here, I'll tell you what, I'm going to wait for this to build, and I'm going to come back. Yet what you're going to see here are multiple videos of social proof. So in essence, it's a video of an agent who says, listen, I got my real estate license. I was on my own. I was with a brokerage. I got very little direction. I was blowing in the wind. My first 12 months in the industry, I closed 2 transactions. I was running out of savings. I was going to be forced to go back to corporate America. I did not want to do that. Yet I heard about the Seely Group. I interviewed, they approved me, I joined the team, and here I am 9 months at the Seely Group. I'm closing over 10 million in total sales volume already, and it's better than I ever thought it could be. I mean, it's the social proof. It's by giving the spotlight to the people on the team that are actually crushing it. Then you too become the lead magnet. Now, guys, I don't know what's going on with my machine. I apologize. Can you hear me okay? Yes? Okay, because it just completely froze on me. Yet this social proof is going to be critical to you attracting the right talent to grow the team. And I'm looking at my video and it's not even matching my words. It's hilarious. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so Jen, thank you for that. That was number 1, social proof. When an agent on the team is crushing it, or Brenda, like for you within the brokerage, there's an agent who's just out there doing a bang up job. Maybe they're building a team. You give them the spotlight. You let them tell your story. You become a magnet for the right talent. Okay. The second thing that you said is that you analyze before you put an offer letter forward the dominant behavior of the individual. Haley, you and I had a coaching session yesterday. We went deep into this to determine, well, what is the right behavioral match for the role, the tactical work associated with their role. See, anybody can do anything short term. Get to do it long term and do it effectively, and even plus the role and the strategies, the tactics, the models, systems, the technology. They've got to be a behavioral match. Haley, we talked about it like this. Imagine this is the individual, my right hand, right? This is the job description, right? And this is their behavior. Sorry, this is the job description. This is the individual and their behavior. We want it to be a perfect match. Because if it's like this, guys, it's never going to work long term. So to analyze, well, what is the dominant behavior traits of the individual? Who is my avatar? To identify the who you're going to hire before you even place the ad, before you make that first phone call, by developing what I call a missing person report. So again, forget all the connotations associated with missing person. It's just your organization is missing a person. I want you to describe that person to the nth degree. Seriously, all the things you could never advertise for, okay? This is a document for you and you alone, yet I want to know, are they male or female? What's their gender? How old are they? Are they married? Do they have kids? What's their dominant behavior style? What's their sexual orientation? I mean, everything that you could think about to describe this person, you describe it to the nth degree. Then when that person shows up in your world, you've opened your filter, if this makes sense. This becomes the first filter point in the hiring process, by the way. This is part of the initial interview. Do they match the description of the missing person? See, I can't tell you how many people I've told to do just that. They put the missing person report together, then they hire somebody, and then they come back to me 3 months later and say, oh, it wasn't working out. I had to let that person go. I said, well, how did they match against your missing person report? They said, it did not even close, not even close, right? So that becomes your first filter point in the hiring process. So I want to go back to that first question. How are you identifying and then hiring the right talent to build your team? Are you going to your allied resource partners, your mortgage companies, title companies, attorneys, home inspectors, mortgage originators? See, they're already in relationship with thousands of agents, and they know who's happy. They know who would be a good fit for your team. And if they're smart, they're going to help you identify the right talent. Now, real quick digression as a sidebar. When I was president of MAPS Business Training, which was associated with Keller Williams, it was a business consulting organization based in Keller Williams, yet it was not for the real estate industry. It was for all industries outside of real estate. So during my duration of tenure as president of that organization, I consulted for organizations like McDonald's, Panasonic, FedEx, Forklifts, T-Mobile, Genentech, Pepsi, Ford, just to name a few of those organizations. Yet one of my biggest clients was FNTG, so Fidelity National Title Group. They were smart to engage me, right? They wanted to get in close with Keller Williams and Gary Keller. And yet I consulted many of their top performers. And by the way, they're a Fortune 232 company. They're not doing too bad. I mean, they own Ticor Title, Lawyers, Security, Fidelity, of course, Security Title, I already said that, but about 50 other brands that you've never heard of before. And yet I did a big mastermind session. We got about 250 of their top performers or top leaders within that industry to fly out to Austin, Texas. We used our large training room and we put on a 2.5-day intensive workshop with these individuals. Now, at the same time, in the next door training room, Gary Keller had his top 100 mastermind going on. So I acted quickly and I went to some of the top performers like Brett Tanner and Brian Gubernick and Gene, I can't remember his last name off the top of my head right now. Yet Lance Logan was there, one of my clients. But I went over and I asked him, could you guys just come in for 20 minutes? We want to do a quick Q&A with them, with you in front of all these title sales executives and sales managers. They said, well, yeah, sure, why not? So they come to the front of the room and I facilitated this discussion. I said, the first question I asked them is, how can a title sales executive earn your business? Now, what do you suppose they said? Talk to me, guys.
For me, it's get me a pre-qual any time I need, right? So the weekends, holidays, if I need a pre-qual.
Okay. So on the mortgage side, yes, I'm talking the title side. So how could a title sales executive, how could they earn your title business? What do you guys say?
Just making sure they're explaining the process well to to the buyers and the sellers, being proactive, and then also helping support you and your business in terms of helping farm, giving you resources, anything to help elevate you.
So free tools, doing research for you, things of that nature. I love that answer, Henry. Somebody else. How could somebody earn your title business and keep it?
If we're talking about the top agents or the top teams, I think they are going to look at, just like Henry said, kind of what's in it for you to take good care of our client and to elevate me as the team leader, whatever the case may be, so that it continues to strengthen that bond between the client and the agent, with the the title company so that it really feels like a seamless team for that client, because ultimately you want that client taken care of, and then you want to be able to build upon that business for their referrals and their repeat business. So you want them to help you grow your business. And then the other piece of that that coincides with that is the tools. What can they provide, or what can they pay for, what can they do as co-marketing? And yes, of course, there are rules and limitations on all of that depending on the industry, whether it's title or mortgage, but being able to build that together so that there's that unified approach.
There you go. I love it, Brenda. Great answer. Anybody else?
I was gonna say, we don't have title companies, but
That's right.
I would think like edify you, right? Like the whole idea is like have them speaking about how amazing you are, even to other agents, where, you know, potentially you're going to open that doorway, right?
Well, I want maybe a fundamental shift in mindset right now, and this is a huge opportunity for you guys.
Ownership is what I would say.
Ownership. Okay, perfect. That you definitely earn my business if I'm getting 51% of the gross revenue. And yes, I can help each and every one of you set up a title company through Nightberry Title, just like that. Now, Jen, not you. You're up in Canada. I apologize. Yet if you're in the US, I can help you set up your own title division, and you'll make an extra $250,000 a year. If you're interested, hit me up on email, just Shon@iconcoaching.com. I'll connect you with Nightberry Title, and they'll help you start your own title division. You get 51% of the gross revenue. And, you know, it does have a couple of hooks in it, but they're certainly palatable. And I've got many of my team leaders that I coach that have started their own title companies, which makes sense. Line extensions that make sense so you can ring it out. I mean, why are you giving them all the money when you can get half of it, right? You guys with me? Okay, so fundamental shift in mindset. Every single one of these really high performers, I mean, they're Gary Keller's top 100 mastermind, every one of them without fail said, help me identify the right talent to grow my team. Because once you reach a certain level of production, you recognize it's not about so much the marketing. And yes, you're going to do that. You have to do that. It's not so much about the lead conversion process. It's not so much about the systems on the team. It's really about the talent on the team at the end of the day. See, if your business isn't where it could be or should be, you're simply missing a key relationship, and you need to leverage your allied resource partners, your vendors, to help you identify that right talent. And again, they're already in relationship with thousands of agents. They'll help you make that happen if they're smart. I asked Lance Loken, 3,200 transactions last year, by the way. I said, how is it that your title rep earns your business, and why haven't you started your own title brand? He said, because they helped me make my first key hire. See, at the end of the day, it's not so much about your personal production, it's about the production of others, and it's also about the talent of the other people on the team. Making sense? So recruiting becomes really critically important. Social proof is the easiest way to make that happen. Find an agent who's on your team, who's crushing it, put a video together and blast it out on all social media channels, put it on your website, let them tell your story, because they can sell joining the team better than you can. Now, how many of you guys are a little bit fed up with agents who say, but I join your team, yet I'm concerned about the split. You want to put me on a 50-50? I'm out. How many of you guys are concerned about that? Or maybe you have agents already on your team that are grumbling about, well, I need more of the commission. Anyone having that going on? A little bit frustrating, to say the least. Now, so many times agents get hung up on the piece of the pie that they're getting. How big is that piece of the pie? And yet what they fail to recognize is that you've got the infrastructure in place, you've got the leverage in place, and you've got a bunch of pie makers in the back. So I don't know about you guys, I'd much rather have half of 10 pies a month than all of one. Does this make sense? So when it's our job as leaders to apply leverage on behalf of the agent. So many of you have seen my model toward mastery. I'll describe it quickly because I'm having some tech issues today. I don't know what's going on yet. If you want to draw this out or even just imagine it, it turns into a pyramid, okay? So it's a big triangle, and you would divide that triangle into 5 equal parts by putting 4 horizontal lines through the pyramid. Now, at the base of this pyramid, just write in the word foundation. Foundation. Now, there's 4 things that impact the strength, the depth, the width, the amount of steel inside an agent's foundation. It's number 1, their knowledge. Second is their skills. Third is their mindset. And fourth are their habits. So it's our job as leaders to really pour into these people, to just focus on adding value and valuing them at the same time by improving their knowledge, skills, mindset, and habits. Now that as we go up this pyramid, the next category is pipeline. So we're going to do some things with lead generation. We're going to allow them to do at least 2 open houses every single weekend, right? We're going to have them cultivate their sphere of influence. We're going to communicate with that sphere of influence aggressively on behalf of the agent. And we're going to fill up their pipeline. Now, with tenacity, they break through to the next tier as you move up the pyramid into momentum. Now, momentum is one of my favorite words, you guys. I mean, it's the biggest magnifier on the face of the planet. If you possess momentum, guess what? You look 10 times better than you actually are. When you lack momentum, you look 10 times worse. So getting the agents to momentum, that is goal number 1, right? Now, beyond momentum, as you go up the pyramid of success and mastery, it's leverage. So 4 categories of leverage. There's models, there's systems, technology, and people. And at the pinnacle of the pyramid is the word mastery. Now, Malcolm Gladwell tells us it takes 10,000 hours to master anything. So to me, it's more of a lifetime journey. Yet our job as a leader is to invest our time, our energy into the agents to strengthen their foundation and then provide them with the leverage. And it creates kind of a sandwich, top down, bottom up, to get the agents into momentum and keep them in momentum. So I implore each and every one of you as leaders to apply the leverage on behalf of the agent. For example, an agent brings in a buy-sell agreement, it's fully executed, they represent the buyer, they hand off the file to what we called our client care manager for buyers, and that agent never touched the file again until it was time to go to the closing, unless they chose to. Meaning the administrative support set up the inspections, the agent didn't even attend the home inspection, they negotiated the inspection repairs, they dealt with the contractors, they created the addendums, made sure all signatures are in place. The agent didn't touch it. Now, a lot of you are saying, well, and they get 50%. Why on earth? The agent should do that. Well, here's the point. To me, inspection negotiation is part of the 80% work. So I'm talking Pareto's principle here, right? See, 20% of your efforts, 20% of their efforts are going to yield a minimum of 80% of the results. So there's 20% work, and then there's 80% work. The inspection negotiations, that's 80% stuff. Yes, it needs to be done. It needs to be done. Yet, when you can replace them in doing that work, then they can give more of their time to the 20% effort. It's just 5 things, right? It's practice, it's lead generation, lead follow-up, going on appointments, negotiating contracts. And the smart leaders are the ones who position their sales agents and their sales team to give an inordinate amount of their time to those 5 things. So take everything off their plate that you possibly can, allowing them to soar with their strengths. See, one thing I've learned is that for great salespeople, they suck at paperwork. Agreed? So why would you even want them to do it in the first place? It just gives you more liability. So get somebody who's more of a C-type behavior, somebody who's very analytical in their approach, somebody who will just stay on that until that document's signed. You know what I mean? See, a great salesperson, they're either going to be the D-type behavior or the I-type behavior for the most part. Okay, there's certain outliers, but for the most part, they're D and I, and they hate paperwork and they suck at the paperwork. So you don't want them to do it anyway. Let them soar with their strength, which is connecting with buyer and seller prospects, getting face-to-face, belly-to-belly with them, getting a signed agency agreement or listing contract, and turn it over to the administrative support and let them take it all off their plate. I mean, seriously, they come back with a listing contract signed, or what I would recommend to each of you, a 1-page commitment to sell, where it's really simple. All it is the seller's name, the agent fills in their name, the property address, they fill in the address, the asking price, they fill in the asking price, and everything else is pre-typed. 3% to the listing agent, 3% to the buyer agent, 6% total commission, and then a small little paragraph at the bottom. By signing this document, I agree and commit to listing my home with the XYZ real estate team, and they can begin the staging process by contacting the stager immediately. I do recognize that all listing paperwork and disclosures will be emailed to me within 24 hours for my electronic signature. They sign it, you sign it, Snap a picture, you email it to them, you email it to your administrative support. The administrative support puts together the listing agreement, the disclosures, emails it to them for the e-signatures. It's going to save you a ton of time on the listing presentation. And when do most objections occur during a listing presentation? Isn't it when you're going through the listing contract? So you eliminate that altogether. They get the electronic document for their signature, and they just initial here, sign there, initial here, sign there. And it goes really, really fast. So I'd strongly recommend that. Yet, as soon as they snap the picture of that, they send it to the administrative support, they don't touch it again. Do you hear me? They don't touch it again until it's time to go to the closing. So you take that 80% stuff off their plate, ordering a stager, ordering professional photography, Matterport virtual tour, drone footage, design a brochure. Are you kidding me? No, you don't want your sales associates doing that. You want them proactively lead generating, doing their lead follow-up, going on appointments, negotiating contracts. And when you position them to give most of their time to those things, guys, you're the one who reaps the benefits along with them. It's win-win all the way around. Talk to me, guys. Are we making sense today?
Yeah, I think those are incredible points, Shon. I think the more you do that, the more that you do retain, because what I've noticed in the agents that have left is they've often messaged me and been like, wow, I didn't realize how much you really did do, even though you may not have been telling me every day how much you're doing. It's like, wow, I have so much to do now. And so, yeah, I think those are some great points.
Excellent. Excellent. Yes. So with that said, okay, so we touched on recruiting. Let's talk a little bit about retention. I mean, we worked so hard to get them to join the team, right? How do you keep them? How do you keep them from getting drunk in the wine of their own success and say, oh, I can do this all by myself, and they leave you? Talk to me, Brandon. Your hand went up. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I want to talk about recruiting just real quick. You had mentioned on one of our first coaching calls a website or a company called WiseHire, which I think is a phenomenal tool for recruiting both assistants and agents. And this to me, so I told you guys at the beginning, I am a single agent now. I have an admin team and some ISAs that I use. But at one point I did have a team of about 20 agents, and I pretty much recruited all those agents like within a 2 or 3 week period. And one of those tools was WiseHire. And how I did that was you go to WiseHire. I think it's like $150 for your first market, and then you can pay a little bit more for other markets. But when you create your your form or your LinkedIn or however it is, they put the ads out for you basically, and it's pretty much all pre-typed, so you can go in there, put a little bit of customization on, post it, and then you can have one for like a buyer's agent, a listing agent, an admin. And what I noticed is you'll get a few on the buyer's agents, the listing agents, but if you go to an admin and most of us typically are always looking for an admin, right? So when I started, I'd put on there looking for an admin, 45,000. But I'd get hundreds in a week, hundreds of applicants for real estate. And the great thing about WiseHire is they do the disc assessment for you. So you talk about, finding that perfect person. You called it the missing persons report. So you kind of can do that a little bit with WiseHire. But what I found is when I'm looking for admins, I do not want somebody that wants to be an agent later on, right? Because I want you to be an admin for the rest of my career and your career. I don't need you thinking about, oh man, this is looking really good, and then me having to retrain and retool a new admin. So I would ask every single admin, and again, hundreds. I mean, these applications come in insanely. And so I would say, hey, do you ever want to be, I know you have interest in real estate, but do you ever want to be an agent? I was looking for the one that says no, right? I want the person that says, no, I could never be an agent. I'm a high C. That's what I have to stay with. But 99% of them would say yes. And so what I found was the easiest thing in the world to do to recruit is to just flip it on them and say, well, hey man, why don't you just go ahead and get your license and let's get you as an agent. And so it's almost a little bit of a misdirection to intentionally do it that way, but I think it's okay because that truly is what their goal is in the first place. But that is an incredible tool, is going through WiseHire, putting out those ads. Not only will you get a bunch of people coming towards you, but you'll identify, if you do it through that administrative way, a lot of people who want to get into real estate. And I think not only would it be a good tool to recruit to your team, but certainly would be a good tool to recruit to your downline. So just wanted to put that out there.
Brandon, thank you for that, man. That's brilliant. Makes a lot of sense, no doubt about that. And with WiseHire doing the DISC assessment, that becomes kind of the first filter point, right? So part of your missing person report is, well, what behavior do I want in the individual? And you get 150 applicants. I don't want to call 150 people. I'm going to make the first filter point. Are they a behavioral match to the role? If they are, well, then they make the A list, right? And then I'm going to do the initial interview. It's over the phone. It's 5 minutes or less. And I'm going to validate that. By the way, quick question, quick digression. Let's say that the DISC, because the DISC can be cheated. You understand that. You can cheat the DISC. You can make it whatever behavior style you want it to be just simply by answering your questions the way that you think the employer wants you to answer them. So every call, I'm going to do that initial screening and I'm going to go against the DISC. And here's what I call the magic question. I say, okay, well, thank you for applying for the position. And I'm going to start off with a really off the wall question that there is no wrong answer to. There's no wrong answer. I want to know from your perspective what you believe to be true. And I want you to tell me out of the 4 following statements, which fits you the best. Okay. Number 1 is direct and to the point. Number 2 is very social, life of the party, natural born salesperson. Number 3 is warm, sincere, sensitive, and friendly. Number 4 is cautious and very accurate. Now, which number would you give me? 1, direct and to the point. Number 2, very social. Number 3, warm, sincere, sensitive, and friendly. Number 4, cautious and always accurate. Now, you do recognize that if they give you number 1, well, they're a D-type behavior. They're direct and to the point, right? If they're more socially driven, they're generally speaking the I or the influential behavior. If they're warm, sincere, sensitive, and friendly, they're the S. And if they're cautious and very accurate, they're generally speaking the C-type behavior. So that's a quick way to validate. You do that right on the initial call. You guys with me? Okay, so again, we work hard to get them in the front door. Let's lock the back door. What are you guys doing specifically to retain the talent to the team? And this is going to be a fun part of our conversation today. And we got about 9.5 minutes left. So let's be on purpose. Brenda, take it away.
Accessibility and responsiveness and answering questions when they have questions. And you don't have to be the end all know all either, but just attentive to getting the answer. If it's something outside of you or you don't provide it or your office doesn't provide it, just being able to kind of point them in the right direction. But I think accessibility and responsiveness are the very top.
Excellent, Brenda. I love that. And it sounds exhausting. See, when I was running my own brokerage, which by the way, my hat's off to you, Brenda, because I wouldn't wish that on anybody, because it felt like when I stepped in the office, as soon as my foot went over the threshold, it was like 35 umbilical cords attached to my belly button and it sucked the life right out of me, right? I mean, so it was exhausting. So,
but some of that is setting up the systems.
Yeah, no, I agree with you that will definitely help retain agents, yet I don't love doing that. How about you guys? And Brenda, if you were honest with yourself, do you love doing that? You get the call at 8:30 on a Friday night, you're having dinner with your family and they have a contract question. I need this answer right now. How does that feel?
It depends. So I try to set up the systems and the processes so that they know that I'm not the one that they call for everything and that there are resources to get those answers. But if they text me at 8:30 on a Friday night, I am accessible, but with the knowledge that I'm in the office during the day and that's when I prefer to work. If it's contract critical, I'm there for them. I'm not there for them at 8:30 on a Friday night to help them walk through how to upload something to the transaction. So it is making it clear to them that you are accessible, but when you're accessible too.
So teaching people how to treat you is imperative.
Yes.
Undoubtedly.
Yes. And that's a life lesson, right?
Now you've got to set and then manage the appropriate expectations with the team members. No question. All right. Somebody else, what are you doing to retain the agents? Yes. Sue Smith.
Hello. So we do it all different and we do it different by design. So no more employees. We have a transaction manager. This is a person or a group that manages transactions, and they do it for the whole team. I'll tell you what, to hire assistants, what you just talked about, Brandon, for them to quit because they can't handle it, where you can actually give everything to a professional transaction manager, take care of everything, marketing, social media, sales, listings, the whole shebang. And the nice thing is they're not employees.
Right.
You don't have to worry about that. So that is a great way too to retain your realtors, because every realtor on the team knows that every transaction, big or small, goes to the transaction manager, and they work with us all the way to settlement.
Fantastic. And Sue, that's a predicated fee as well, right? Meaning you don't pay it unless the deal closes. Is that correct?
That's correct. And it gets paid through settlement. So that's how it works here in Virginia. It's all above board, but it really is a great way to go. And if you guys, I don't know where everybody is, but if you need some references for transaction managers in your area, I can maybe let my transaction manager know, because she's pretty well known throughout the country. She's in a few different states, and they really do a great job. And the clients love her. In fact, one of the things is that when we go to settlement, everybody wants to meet Chrissy. No one ever meets Chrissy, but they feel like she's a big part of the transaction, because she's actually, I find them better than assistants. I've had the assistants. They're just, personal, they're educated, they have great writing skills, they're everything that we are on a transaction management side.
Gotcha. And Sue, do you mind me asking, what do you pay per transaction?
$4.95, and I would pay double. I'd pay double for their service. It's that good. So it's the best money spent. You're not going to find that in an assistant. And the other nice thing is they don't work in your office. They work in their own office. It's all done virtually. And it's really a great way to go, in my opinion.
I love that. Now, outsourcing transaction coordination, I think, is a really smart thing to do. Take that 80%, give it to somebody else, somebody who's an expert at it. I mean, time on task tracks with mastery more than just talent alone. You understand that. In fact, time on task eventually beats talent alone every single time. So they're doing it every hour of every day. Of course, they're going to become very proficient at it. Now, the only challenge with transaction coordination and outsourcing that is, generally speaking, that's the only thing they're going to do for you is transaction coordination, meaning they're not going to help you plan your next customer appreciation event. They're not going to help you put together your next, direct mail campaign to your sphere of influence. So that's the only downside to that. Yet you could also hire that person in-house to help you implement and deploy new strategies. Because, like you, I found myself so many times, I'm down in the weeds, I'm doing the work, I'm busy. And while I hear a great idea with every intention to implement it, maybe I attend a seminar, a workshop, I take some great notes. And then those notes end up in a drawer or up on a shelf, and I have a really smart shelf, right? We all need that implementation officer within our organization, because you're busy, you don't have time to implement. And here's the difference. The difference between extraordinary success and below average results, guys, it's simply speed of implementation. That's it. The faster you implement, the faster you fail, which is a good thing. When you fail faster than anyone else, you find what works faster than anyone else. Then you scale it out. Time, energy, money, resources, people, whatever it takes, bring it out. Get everything you can out of that strategy, that tactic. Love it. Okay, so let me, we've got just a couple of minutes left. So let me just share with you my perspective on retention. And I think the most underutilized tool is compensation. Okay, if I join your team, like I said earlier, I get 50% of every deal I close. That's not all inspiring, and I'm eventually going to leave you. So what I'd recommend to everybody on this call is a simple profit sharing system. And it's so easy to implement and deploy within your organization. You say, well, Shon, that's my profit. Well, yes, you're going to get your profit. Don't get me wrong. And I'm going to use round numbers here. Let's just say that last year you net after all commissions, all expenses, $500,000, okay? And again, we're just using round numbers. Well, that becomes the floor for your profit share program, meaning every dollar from 0 to 500,000 net after all expenses, there is no profit share on that money. That is your money. You deserve that money. And what you're going to do, though, is you're going to compensate the agents and administrative support on the team based on how much bigger they can help you build it. So for example, you might share 20% of every net dollar to the organization above 500,000. Now let's just say that the agents get behind this, the administrative support gets behind this, they're excited about getting this annual distribution of net profit above the floor. And let's just say that they start recruiting, they start doing their lead generation, lead follow-up, and you're reporting to them state of the company on a monthly basis saying, if we stay on this trajectory, your profit share check is going to look like this, right? So you're constantly casting the vision month after month after month. Now let's just say that they get busy. And let's say they build it from $500,000 net to $1 million net. That means you're going to share 20% of every dollar above the $500,000 floor, and 20% of 500,000 is what? It's 100 grand. So you're going to share $100,000 back to the people who help make that happen. Now, by the way, you get the first 500,000, the next 400,000. So you're getting 900,000, and you're going to distribute $100,000 to the team who did it. Okay. Now the question then becomes, well, how do I divvy up this $100,000? Well, you're going to do this for the administrative support and the agents. And how you're going to do this is based on their W-2 or their 1099 at the end of the year. And for every $1,000 a person earned, they receive 1 unit measure. So let's say you've got an administrative support, you pay them $66,000 per year. They receive 66 unit measures. You have a sales agent on the team that made $128,000 that year. They get 128 unit measures. And you do this for every agent on the team, every administrative support on the team, and you sum total the unit measures. So you add it all up. So you've got 943 unit measures in total. Then you take the $100,000 profit share pool and you simply divide 100,000 by the number of unit measures to determine the unit measure value. You guys with me? So every unit measure is worth this amount of money. Then you go to the administrative support who made $67,000 that year, 67 unit measures. You take the unit measure value, multiply it by the number 67, and you come up with the amount of their bonus, their profit share. You do that with the agent who made $127,000, 127 unit measures, multiply that by the unit measure value. That's their percentage of the profit share pool. And it pencils out every time, right? And yet here's the thing, this is an annual distribution of net profit above the floor. So you do this one time per year. I would recommend that you do it on and before April 15th of the following year. It gives you time to close out the books. And by the way, since you're doing it later in the year, you've now got 3.5 months of production under their belt toward next year's profit share distribution. So when they receive their check, they're probably not going to leave. Now they must be employed with the team at the time of distribution. So this is the best retention strategy. Let's say they have an entrepreneurial seizure in the month of July. Oh, I could do this all on my own. If they leave, they walk away from their profit share. Or let's say they have a bad week in the month of August. They lost 3 deals in the same week and they're just contemplating quitting real estate. They're not going to quit because they're walking away from profit share. And when done appropriately, guys, this turns into a large sum of money. Now, once you establish your floor, I would encourage you keep the floor the same year after year after year, no matter how big the organization grows. But this is a great way to retain people. We want to put the golden handcuffs on them. They don't want to leave because they know they got this big bonus coming, especially administrative support that are earning, between 40 and call it 70,000 per year. All right, guys, I've got the top of the hour. I had one other thing I wanted to tell you about administrative support salary, yet I'm going to save it for next week. Sound good? All right, let me ask, did you guys find a little bit of value today?
Absolutely.
Feeling a little bit excited, perhaps, about growing your production, growing your team? All right, because that's exactly what I want to have happen. I want you to find that clarity. See, clarity is absolute power. In absence of clarity, there's simply complexity. If we have mist in our mind, it becomes the fog within our organization. So guys, I want you to keep showing up every Thursday. I'm going to show up next Thursday. I'll be on the island of Kauai, having a great time, yet I'm still going to be here. And so I encourage you all to be here, all right? Thank you all for your time, your contribution. And next time, I promise you one thing, I'm not going to talk so much, okay? I'm going to let you guys do all the talking. Sound good?
Thank you, Shon.
Thanks for being
Shon.
here.
Thank
Talk to you guys.
Thank you.
Nice
Nice
meeting all
meeting
y'all.
you.
Yeah, nice
Thank
meeting you as well. If you guys have any questions, I'm an email away, Shon@iconcoaching.com. Talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye-bye.